Good morning, friends. This is Dennis Miracle. Today I'm going to be making for you the Lovely Leaves bag. And as you can see, I have already gotten the initial step one sewn down, which is the general outline of the bag and the area for the placement of the zipper. This is a 6x10 design for the 6x10 hoop. So let's start right now and let me make sure my zipper works. Let's put our zipper in. If you are using a number 3 zipper, which is what I would suggest, then I have digitized the zipper area to be accommodating of that 1-inch number 3 zipper, so it should fit right between these lines, the bottom line here, the top line here, and this bottom fourth line down. So let's put that in or on, and I always put one at the top, one at the bottom, piece of tape at the top, piece of tape at the bottom, and just a little bit here in the center, just at the very edge of the zipper. So let's put this in the machine and it will be sewn down. Be right back. Okay, I'm back and the zipper has been sewn down. And the next thing we need to do is turn the hoop over to the back and take our first piece of lining, and it's this pretty blue, put it face down, and it needs to be, the edge of the fabric needs to be against this bottom line here. As I say, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. Place it on the edge of the fourth line, and make sure that you are also equally distributed as far as the side lines also, so this looks fine. And I'm going to attempt to keep my hands out of the video as much as I can. I know a lot of people told me that they can't see what I'm doing because of my hands, so I'm going to try my best to do a better job. So let me stick this back in the, oh no, let me not do that yet. Let me let this roll over to the front, the lining, and let's take the lining and fold it a couple times and take it and tape it down here on the frame of the hoop. And then let's take our front fabric, our main fabric, and which is going to be a piece of faux leather for me, and let's place it the same place right at the edge of the bottom of the zipper, and make sure it's okay on each side. So let's put tape it in 3 places. Alright, I think that's going to be good. Alright, let's put it back in the machine, and it'll be, so there's a line of stitches that will go right along here, and let's let that occur. Alright, let's look here. This looks fine. It's been sewn down. Let's make sure though the back is okay, and the same way it looks fine. So let's take and okay, I knew there's one thing I was forgetting. I didn't cut my batting. Even though this is fake leather and you really don't need any batting, I still like to put it in. So let me stop and run over to the cutting table and cut me something for batting. So I'll be right back. Alrighty, I'm back from the cutting area, and I always say I cut my fabric for a 6x10 bag. I cut it 7x11. However, when I put this little piece of batting underneath the zipper, we need to take an inch off, so I cut it 6 inches along this side, and then it's the regular 11 along here. So just put it right slightly underneath this line of stitching and fold down the vinyl as best you can. I like to iron things, but I don't think that'd be a good choice to iron this vinyl, or that would end my project really quickly, and the video too. So let's tape it down best we can. And okay, you just kind of grease it with your fingers. Let's stick it back in the machine and let it sew. It's going to sew all along the 4 sides. So let's do that, and I'll be right back. All right, as you can see, the stitching has occurred on all 4 sides of the bag, so it's nice and stable and ready to start the beautiful leaves, the lovely leaves bag. And you can see I was inspired by a bag Janet Wood made the other day using the variegated thread, and I have a whole pile of it in there and I never use it, and I said, well, I'm going to use some of this. So I chose this particular color. I hope it'll look good. We'll see. Okay, I'm back, and this has been stitched, and I think this variegated thread is just beautiful. It gives some life to this kind of blah olive colored, maybe light olive vinyl, so it looks quite pretty. I did make a change. I had shown you earlier where there were just lines drawn along the top here where the stitching would go. Those were, I believe, 5 and 6 and steps 5 and 6, and I've deleted those. They really don't add anything to the beautiful leaves. So I think now we're down to 9 steps to make this beautiful bag. But the next thing I'm going to do, I'm actually going to do something I don't think I've ever done on one of the videos. I'm going to stop and put into the machine, put into the software, and put my sister's name through here. I left this blank intentionally where it was big enough to put a name, and I'm going to put my sister's name here and give this to her. So I'm going to take a moment and go over to the software and do that, and then resend the file back to my Solaris. So just hold on, I'll be right back. Now, if you are going to add a name like I'm going to do, I would suggest you would make it step 7 and get that done in that order. So let me program that into the machine, and I'll be putting the hoop back in and stitching out my sister's name, Brenda, here on this lovely bag. So I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, I have put my sister Brenda's name in there. Boy, this is wild looking. I'm not sure I would have put the name in. The name probably would have been better in a solid color, but this is just beautiful, this variegated. And it's from Brother Red, off of Amazon. I think they're like 20 spools for $25 or something in that range. Anyhow, yeah, if you're going to put a name, I would advise you to definitely put it no later than or before step 7, because now we're going to take and undo the lining and let it fall to the back and take off this few pieces of tape here, and then pull this down and retape it. So any putting of names needs to be done before this step. So just remember that, and this is step 7. So let me put this in the machine and run it, and that will sew down this lining piece. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with the lining all sewn down. As you can see, it's perfect. It looks fine. So then we're going to go back to the front of the hoop, and now we're going to take and remove the tape on the side here that originally held the zipper down. Throw it away. We're going to open the zipper about 3/4 of the way, and we're going to take our my little cross body strap connectors, and I'm going to use this as my line of reference, and I'm going to always put them in about 1 inch from the sewing line here. So that looks about 1 inch, and I'm lining up the top of this key ring with the line going across here. And so let's tape that down. And by the way, these are made just simply from whatever strip of, in this case I'm using this green vinyl. I cut these 3/4 inches wide and 3 inches long. And I take, and before I fold it, I put the key ring in, and then I fold it in 2, and I take my stapler and just staple it together so it doesn't come apart while we're sewing it down. And you can see here that the staple is way out of the line of stitching. The line of stitching will be about where this line is here that you can see in variegated thread. So let me stick on the other one and quit talking and get moving here. Okay, there's that. The zipper's open. That's one of the most important things. We'll take our other piece of whatever's going to be our back piece of fabric, which is going to be the same as the front piece, place it directly over what we already have down, and just make sure though that you are up at least 1/4 inch above the top of the zipper. So there's that, and then take your other piece of batting and place it on top of that. And I'm going to put a little tape on the sides because this is very slippery. We've got 2 pieces of vinyl against vinyl, so even though the sewing machine is right next to me, it could slip a bit. So let's take and put that in the machine, and this next step, which is step 8, will in fact just basically close the bag up. So zipper's in, that's the most important thing to remember. Let me stop the camera. Okay, I'm back, and you can see that it has stitched this all closed. So let's turn our hoop over for the very last step, and that's putting on the second piece of lining. So take your piece of lining, put it face down over what's already there, And like on the other side, the front side, make sure it's at least 1/4 of an inch above the edge of the zipper. And then let's tape this down on all 4 corners. And I hope you've been able to see what I have been doing. I've got a slightly different setup than I had the other day. So it's a taller effect where the device is holding the camera higher up over instead of so close to my hands. So I'm hoping I've improved. Let me know if you would in the remarks if you care to. So anyhow, let me stick this in the machine, and this is step number 9, the last step. So let me sew that out. Okay, I'm back, and this last bit of sewing has been done. I've turned it over to the back of the hoop, and what you can see that it did is just left a nice area here, a gap to reach in and turn the bag. So what we need to do is take the bag out of the hoop, let go. Okay, all right, that looks good. And I cut from the back side, from the lining side. So let me, there's a piece of tape on me. Let me start here on the lining side, and I go in, I start over here on the right side, and I cut in at an angle. And this is going to be harder again because it's all this vinyl, but I just simply cut around, about 1/4 of an inch, maybe, maybe between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch away from the line of sewing all around. Okay. I'm going to turn on my iron while I'm thinking of it, because I may put a little steam on here to make it a little softer to turn. All right, when I get over here to this side, I take and do the angle right here on it also. And then I take and that's too thin to use. Look through my garbage here and see if there's anything that's redeemable, but no, it's all just junk. Throw it away. And then on here though, what we need to do, gosh, that seems awfully thick. Okay, let's pull back. We've got our lining pieces. First one is the shorter one, the longer lining piece. And just taking all this here is junk, except for I'm going to keep this piece of vinyl. It's wide enough to do my little connector strips with. But taking everything below or under the lining needs to be cut off, and cut it close to the bag, close to the line of sewing, like a 1/16 or so of an inch, and an 1/8 of an inch away. And there's okay, and there's a good piece of vinyl. That's too thin. All right, so now let's take it and turn it out. Turn number 1. Oh, it's really stiff. but it's coming along well, actually. Let me try to get these turned out. Okay. 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 Now I'm going to take and run the iron over this, even though this is vinyl. I'm going to run it over very quickly. I'm not going to let the iron linger anywhere on here. So here we go. All right. Hopefully no damage was done. Let's take it. Next thing, let's turn this shorter piece in and take and iron it down, and then turn the longer piece of lining in, and these little cuts I made with the angles, push them back and back, push them this way towards the edge over here, and hopefully they'll help this stay in some while we're sewing it together. Okay, and once you have this like you like it, then do the same thing, give it a little quick iron there. Okay, now let me run over to the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew a line of stitches right through here, so I'll be right back. Okay, I have sewn that closed. Let me get rid of this little string here. Get rid of these little strings over here. And then the next thing and last thing before turning it again is we need to get rid of this, get rid of whatever stabilizer you've put down over this covering the zipper. So just do that now. Okay. Well, this has come, unlike most of the times, you can see where this is originally a that part of step one that you do to show the placement stitch. This is what this piece of string, a piece of thread is, and it's somehow I've dislodged it. So since I've done that, let me go ahead and cut it off. It's not, I'm not cutting off the zipper. It was just a placement thread. So now this needs to be picked off, and I think this is the first time that this has occurred in hundreds of videos, because I usually say just leave this alone. It's sewn down with two rows of stitching, but the one came loose, so now, well, I'm not going to do any more of that. You get the picture. You can, well, it's coming up. If this happens to you, just remove this, and probably a lot of people remove it anyhow, but that's all for the moment. I'm going to go ahead and turn the bag out. So go ahead and open your zipper as far as it'll go, and reach in and take the pieces of plastic off. I'm sorry, not plastic, pieces of tape. I feel it and hear it. Okay, there it is. Okay, and now turn the bag. Let me give it a little burst of steam to maybe make it a little bit softer, and it did make it a little softer. And let's quickly turn it. Oh, Lord, good thing I had my shoes on. Well, I might have severed my toe. Okay. Come on. Okay, take and I call it kind of finesse your or massage your fabric. Oh, there's another. And turn it the way it should be. Let me see, this is not out all the way. Okay, I think it is now. And just kind of use your hands to mold it into the way it should be. And so, alrighty, there we are. But I'm going to take my old Clorox stained thick cloth here, face cloth, and I'm going to give it a quick going over with, and I can hesitate a little more because it's very thick, this washcloth. Okay. All right, and let's do the back. Okay, I think that is good. All right, it's just a little softer, and I think that looks beautiful. What do you think? I hope there we are. So I hope I've done better about keeping this in focus, which I'm thinking I didn't, unfortunately, or keeping it where my hands are seen. I don't know. I can't afford to have a cameraman come in. That's for sure. I wish I could do a professional video, but I'm sorry. I just don't have the funds to do that. So I make do with what I have. This looks beautiful to me. And this is the Lovely Leaves bag. And I want to thank you, all of you, for watching me make this. And if you obtain the pattern, I hope you'll make something beautiful for yourself or your friends or family. And I'll be back hopefully the next day or two with a new design and a new tutorial. And once again, thank you so much for being with me and for always encouraging me and supporting me. And I'll see you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.